What's up everyone, Kawaii Crew here to react to episode 10 of Grisaia Phantom Trigger. Last episode we left off, it was the end of the events of Volume 7. We saw Sword basically entering the war at full swing. And we saw quite a bit of things from Taiga saving a soldier's life. That soldier is Jonah, as I know him. We also saw Murasaki and Yuki infiltrating the TFA bunker, the TFA headquarters, in disguise. We also saw... Let's see... Oh yeah, I think that was the episode where we also saw, Toka saving that little girl from those two assailants. Pretty much defying all orders. Oh, and we also had the introduction of Homura. Yes, the enemy ninja on the TFA side. However, easily the biggest moment that happened in the last episode was the face-off between Haruto and Kuroe. They were getting into an all-out fight. However, unfortunately, that ended quite abruptly when Rena entered the fray and started firing at Kuroe, causing her to run away. And this infuriated Haruto in a way that we've never seen this type of emotion before. Like, you could tell, like, he was just so close to getting his revenge. Yet, Rena, his beloved Rena, just came in and just took it all away from him. Like, you could tell he really wanted to avenge Aoi's death right then and there. But he lost that opportunity, and it drove him, and it made him very, very upset, to say the least. And, yeah, I think where the last episode left off was, I think, Enishi and Kuroe, they were, like, talking at a table with, I think, Renard, and some other guys in the TFA side, and Enishi's side. So, yeah, that's pretty much the events of Volume 7. Let's move on to the final, Volume 8. The events of Volume 8, the final installment of the Grisaia Phantom Trigger trilogy. And guys, I'm gonna try, oh my god. Yeah, this is where everything just like, oh man. This is easy, like, if it's done right, then this is easily the darkest installment in the Grisaia Phantom Trigger series. Like, just so much happens in Volume 8. And I'm going to try my damn hardest to not spoil anything throughout this live reaction. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Well, now, without further ado, let's just get on to it. Alright, everyone, here we go. Episode 10 of Grisaia Phantom Trigger. And we are nearing the home stretch, the events of Volume 8. Patrick, yep. Patrick and Bruno. It's curfew time. Oh, all the girls. So that's what Oliver looks like, huh? Ah, man. It's crazy how this is the first time we actually see what Oliver looks like. It took It took 3 years. Holy shit. He's a deserter. Holy hell, this room is huge. Ah, yep. Maki and Rena on the cameras. Again, hollow with 2 O's, not an A. Oh man. Every time we see Alma and Irma, they're always just huddled up close, holding hands. Yep, not sights for a young child to see. Natalie. Oh. Damn. Oh, no. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, but you know, I've actually been very reluctant when it comes to revisiting the events of Volume 8. It's moments, and the biggest reason is, well, moments like these. Oh, they're out of the bunker already. Because your superiors don't give a fuck about you. Sniper shots. I wonder where that could come from. I wonder who's been firing at him. Ooh. Huh. Toka has is using Megami's AUG. Interesting choice. Yep. This is how down bad these soldiers are. If only they had another pet bottle. So that's what the overworked doctor looks like, huh? Like all of his patients. Oh, it's Sylvie! Okay, we are already at the Sylvie attack. Yeah, the Sylvie's entrance is earlier than I thought too. Okay, I wasn't really expecting this. Oh, shit! Was that how she? I actually don't remember how Charlene kicked the bucket in the VN. Fuck, man, I didn't get that far ahead in my revisit. Oh, that eye, his eyes. He's lost it. I remember something like this, I think. Oh, I think I know how this is gonna end. Oh man, this is. What a trooper Bruno is. Oh, man. Oh, yep, here it is. Oh, man. This could have had so much more impact. Oh my god.
紫だよ。にゃーにゃー。おや、クリスが猫になっているじゃないか。おいで、猫じゃらしだよ。にゃにゃー。こっちは末端価格 1g100 円のマタタビだ。
Oh, yep, spoilers! Yeah, Patrick isn't dead, despite shedding blood during the headshot. Okay.
ここでもいいやーって時に猫になって逃避するにゃん。具体的には何を？だらしなくゴロゴロしてこたつの中に潜ってお菓子食べたりひたすら寝たりするにゃん。
What to expect in the next episode, what they're gonna adapt.
人間としてのマインドではできないにゃん。私休みの日はそんな感じだけど。
I will say I do like Chris talking like a cat.
あと猫だと人に甘えやすいにゃん。甘えてみて。紫にゃーゴロゴロ。おやおや6万円貸してほしいにゃ。甘えんな。
600?
次回テレビアニメグリザイアハンサムトリガー第11話。正しい選択。はい、お水をお飲みなさい。ペロペロペロペロ。かわいいな、買いたくなっちゃう。コンビニのアイス紫のセンスで買ってきてほしいにゃ。甘えんな。
Alright, well, that was episode 10 of Grisaia Phantom Trigger. Overall, yeah. This pretty much just confirmed my fears. They pretty much did exactly what I didn't want them to do. Which was speedrun through the event of Volume 8 and lessen the emotional impact of the deaths and lessen the emotional impact of the more impactful moments. See, this is why I said that I said this in either the previous live reaction. I've said this before. I don't mind. See, I don't mind if the anime didn't adapt all the volumes. Like, if they just adapted volumes 4 through 6, I'd be perfectly okay with that. But because I know that if they did what they're doing right now, which was cram volume 7 and 8 into, let's see, volume 7 started around volume 8. Episode 8. So volume 7 started around episode 8. So that would be was it 5 episodes? Yeah, 5 episodes. No, wait. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 6 episodes. But still, cramming the two biggest volumes, volume 7 and 8, into just 6 episodes. It just doesn't work. Like, we should have had, they should have just adapted this some other time. Like, just adapted this to like an OVA or a fucking movie or something. Alright, well, as usual, since I did revisit the events of Volume 8, I'm going to go back, skim through the episode, and tell you guys how this compares to the visual novel. So, first few minutes of the episode start off fine. We got Patrick and Bruno as scavengers, which is how they started off in the in Volume 8. Two teenage boys, victims of a sense of war, scavenging through bodies, finding whatever they can, you know, resell into profit. Although they never adapted Patrick's backstory. And I don't know if they're gonna go back. I honestly, at this point, I doubt they're gonna go back and revisit this. But I doubt they're gonna go back and revisit and adapt Patrick's backstory. So you know what? I might as well just tell you guys what it is right now. Actually, well, how do I explain Patrick's backstory? I don't think Patrick's. Well, actually, no. I think his backstory did play a pretty big role in Volume 8. Alright, so basically what happened was, Patrick, like many other Grisaia characters, did not have a very normal life. His father had a gambling addiction, his mother was a drug addict, and she was also a sex worker. His brother, he served in the military. He fought for the TFA. That's what these two are. They are on the TFA side, and his brother died. And then his parents, I mean, they were just... his whole home life after his brother died was just thrown into complete despair. Considering the war and all that. And so every time he sees like similar despair among like soldiers and all that, and the constant death they face every single day, it reminds him of his own home life, of his own circumstances. Also, wait, hold on. Phantom Express. Oh, okay, B-Burry, that's a nice little Easter egg. Nice little joke. Okay, the curfew and them buying vegetables and all that with the money, that's pretty accurate. Yep, introduction to the girls. Oliver's introduction. Okay. So as I said in the live reaction, this is really the first time that we saw Oliver's face. And I say that because, in the visual novel, despite him having tons of dialogue and tons of interactions with the other characters, they, for some reason, never show his face in the visual novel. And to this day, I'm still not really sure why. Because he is quite a significant character, so... I mean, when you have such a significant character, then you would think that they would give him like a character design or a character sprite. But for some reason, they didn't. So yes, the anime adaptation, 3 years after Volume 8 was released, is the first time that we actually saw Oliver's face. Crazy. I always kind of thought him to be looking, I would say, gruffer than this, but, it's whatever. Also, this whole room where Bruno and Patrick met Oliver and the girls. Well, I want to see if I can fast forward this to like a better shot. Oh yeah. Oliver's spawning Maki Rena in the cameras. That's accurate. Yeah, it's crazy how it's the whole reason that one of the biggest reasons why Oliver wanted to take the girls and just get out of there is because, the enemy was closing in. Enemy as in the Sur side and the Sword side. They were closing in. And he was afraid of what the enemy would do to the girls if they ever, get captured. Like, he was afraid they were going to get, tortured and, since they got girls, there are going to be some other stuff that would happen to them. And all that. That's what Oliver was afraid of. But the thing is I mean, the crazy thing is that they actually were better off if they had just stayed in that bunker. Because we all know that, Sword is not the type of like organization. They're not the type of people that would, see young girls and would do awful things to them. Maki and Rena certainly wouldn't do that. Okay, so one thing that surprised me about this whole area they're in is that this looks a lot bigger than what they showed in the visual novel. In the visual novel, they made it sound like it's like this fairly small like room, but here we got like a fucking basically a hangar, like an airplane hangar. Like this could fit like an entire battalion of soldiers easily, and their jeeps. No, they wouldn't have, they wouldn't have killed the girls, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, what Oliver said. Alright. I want to fast forward to... Okay, this is Lorraine's death scene. So, yeah, this is the first instance where they just really lessen the emotional impact of her death. Because in the visual novel, it was fucking brutal. Because, while they were crawling through the tunnels, they noticed that they were about to enter like a firefight between two factions that was already going on. And so as you can imagine, there's bullets flying everywhere. And they had to, like... basically crawl on the ground through blood and dirty water and like through corpses, basically. Even the kids. So it's really disgusting. And here, I mean, yeah, we do see the bodies and all that, but it doesn't really show how, brutal and how disgusting their situation was. So it didn't start off like just, Lorraine wasn't killed by just some dude who got easily spooked by a rat. That's ridiculous. Well, I mean, okay, well, it could happen. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just saying it would have been better if it was done like the visual novel. Also, how Lorraine died in the visual novel. Okay, so what happened to her was she was actually hit by a ricochet from that earlier firefight. What happened is they were in the caves. The group was in the caves. It's pitch black. They can't see a goddamn thing. But Oliver, he has to see the map so he can know where to go and all that shit. So he turns on his flashlight for a brief moment. And when everything was illuminated, that's when Sally noticed, that Lorraine is... No. When everything was illuminated, I think that's when Patrick, he heard like a round going, like flying past him or something. And then that's when Sally saw Lorraine, dead. She got hit by a ricocheted round. And Also, what another thing the anime cut out was Oliver specifically. One of the things that Oliver told them not to do was not to cling to the walls because of ricocheting rounds. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if Lorraine followed that rule. But yeah, they just go on like nothing happened. Well, then again, I mean, her death is a little like that in the visual novel too. But oh, also they made also they cut out a scene in the caves where Murasaki and Yuki were supposed to hear. So were supposed to appear. So what happened was while they were going through the caves in pitch black darkness. I think Bruno in the group, they were having no, it wasn't Bruno. Patrick was having a conversation with Oliver and Bruno and the others in the group. And all of a sudden, he hears, and all of a sudden, Murasaki, who was sneaking around them this whole time, decides to join in on the conversation. And this makes Patrick do a double take. He was like, wait, hold on. What? Did I just hear another voice? Oh, this happened after Lorraine died, by the way. I was like, wait, hold on. Did I just hear another voice? That's not a voice I recognize. Yeah, this is like after Lorraine died and before they emerged from the bunker. So he does a roll call with everybody. Now, there's supposed to be 11 after Lorraine died. There's supposed to be 11 members of the group. But then he hears a voice say 12. Murasaki's voice saying 12. And he does it, and this freaks the hell out of him. Like, Murasaki is essentially gaslighting Patrick, just for the fun of it. And now, why she was gaslighting Patrick? Well, because one, she just thought it would be a fun thing to do. Also, another reason why she was there in the first place is that, like, you know, since they belong to the enemy, Murasaki technically was within her right, within her rights to, like, just kill all of them. However, they were spilling some useful information regarding, I believe, the field cannon, and maybe some other stuff regarding TFA's operations. So that's another reason why she decided to just play a little bit more passively and just do some gaslighting. It's a really funny scene. Really wish they could have adapted it. Okay, this is fairly accurate. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this scene where Toka is firing at him, this is somewhat accurate to the visual novel. So what they share in common is that, yeah, Toka was sniping at him, but, well, Toka and Megumi, they were sniping at him, but in the visual novel, Megumi was the one pulling the trigger, and Toka was the one that was acting as the spotter. This AUG that you see Toka using right now, this is supposed to be Megumi's gun. So it's a really interesting choice to have Toka use it. And also, wait, was she firing? Were they firing off that many? I'm not sure they were firing off that many shots. It's puzzling that they gave absolutely no explanation on Toka's side of things as to why exactly she's firing at the group. Yes, one can probably make the assumption that, you know, they're the enemy and she's just doing her job. But in the visual novel, she did explain why she didn't exactly kill him. She doesn't have stormtrooper aim. Let's just clear that right off the bat. But in the visual novel, she didn't... Okay, well, she didn't really... It was a pretty very vague explanation, admittedly. But yeah, in the visual novel, she said... she basically said something along the lines of, you know, you don't need to shoot... she was basically saying you don't need to shoot, you know, excessively at the enemy. It's not a sniper's job. You only need to shoot the rounds that you need to, basically. Yeah, Megami, you know, who was the one actually supposed to be behind the trigger, was, you know, questioning, you know, why can we just kill him? We're well within our rights. And that's when Toga gave the explanation. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something along those lines. And, yep, Louise's death. Once again, brutality of the scene. The brutality and the impact of the scene. So, in the visual novel, yes, the missile... A missile, like a large explosive, did fly into the ground and cause a big explosion. But in the visual novel, it wasn't just debris raining down on the group. It was blood. It was dark. It was basically raining blood upon them. Okay, I will say though, Luisa's look of fear was done pretty well. I'll give it that. I do like that. I do like that detail. However, in the visual novel, it was her death was more detailed. They didn't show it, but they described what her corpse looked like when the body just crashed down upon her. Patrick described how, you know, her corpse was just like her limbs were like twisted, and her limbs and neck were like twisted, like this unnatural position, and like just the life leaving her eyes and like that. It was very brutal. So yeah. Yep, and then afterwards, yep, the music stopped. Yep, afterwards they just cut to them, you know, trekking on like it's nothing. Okay, the scene where the soldiers fighting over the bottled water, that's pretty accurate. But one thing they did cut out from the visual novel is that Sally wasn't actually the first person to offer the thirsty soldier water. Oliver was actually the first one to offer the thirsty soldier water. What happened was Oliver actually gave him his canteen, which had a minuscule amount of water still in it. But that thirsty soldier, he opened up that canteen, and like the water poured into his mouth, and he just slurped up every single drop inside that canteen. Like, he was just, you know, just working his tongue through every single like crevice. Like he was acting like, you know, like you could tell this dude was like dehydrated for a long ass time. Like he was tasting nectar from the gods, basically. That's what he was treating it as. And yeah, I kind of wish they would show that in the, you know, in the anime too, just to demonstrate how dire and how dire the situation is to these soldiers, and how you know, how much the higher ups basically abandon them. Also, the corporal's voice was cooler in the visual novel. I'm pretty sure this is not the original voice actor for the corporal. This scene in the camps, admittedly, I kind of just skimmed through it. I didn't really revisit it. But what I do remember during my first playthrough is Mackenzie over here, Dr. Mackenzie over here. I do remember him being like this overworked doctor, being the only one that's at least somewhat able to take care of injured soldiers. So that's pretty accurate. One thing I didn't mention is that I do remember from my first playthrough that Dr. Mackenzie over here, he's actually not like an actual field medic. He's supposed to be like a pharmacist or something. His expertise is more so pharmaceutical stuff rather than, you know, surgery and patching up wounds and all of that. But, you know, he's the only one, now that his brother died, he's the only one in the battalion who has some type of medical knowledge. So he has to be the one to take care of all these fallen soldiers. Yeah, once again, just goes to show how dire the situation is. Oh yeah, Sylvie coming in and butchering everybody. I think the other nun's name is Vale. I really should have. I should have memorized her name by now. You'd think. Okay, the scene where Mr. Mackenzie gets his face blasted and the grenade shoved into his mouth. Yeah, that's pretty, yeah, that's also pretty accurate. Although I wish we could have seen his actual head getting blasted open. Like, come on. What are they thinking? The Grisaia... Anyone who's watched the original Grisaia trilogy knows that the series is no stranger to brutality. Like, we went through the Amane arc in Fruit of Grisaia. That's some fucking brutal shit. So, I mean... we saw Yumiko blowing up that body to smithereens during her arc at Fruit of Grisaia. Like, come on! Show us some bloodshed! Okay, I actually don't remember if this scene was in the visual novel, but what I do remember is there was a scene back at the camp, where the corporal's battalion. There was two privates in the corporal's battalion. Both had a very heated exchange, and they started fist fighting each other. And it wasn't just some like friendly, you know, tussle between friends or anything like that. No, they seemed pretty hell-bent on, like, you know, just, you know, beating each other to a pulp. And the corporal, upon seeing this, he takes out his combat knife and he slashes one of the guy's throats. and the private who got his throat slashed is, obviously left to, choke on his own blood and die. And he says, and he basically says something along the lines of, my orders are absolute. I don't need men who are unruly and can't obey orders. Because he did tell everybody, beforehand to stand at attention and all that. But those two were still, at the time the corporal was giving that order, those two were still brawling each other. So that's why the corporal slit one of their throats. Now this scene could be a reference to that. But once again, I might need to go back and check. Because, in fact, I don't even know if it's even worth checking at this point, considering how much they skipped events. They just skimmed through volume 8. Okay, Melissa's death. I do remember her picking up a gun and just start firing at the enemy, saying, we just want to live and all that. But again, it's more understandable when you actually have, really good build-up to that moment. Because Melissa had what seemed like a lot of time just seeing her former friends getting picked off one by one, being casualties of war. So therefore, it makes it more understandable why she would do something like this. But here, it just seemed like she just did something, all of a sudden out of the blue. She just started doing something completely reckless and dumb. When in reality, her psyche was, shattered just like many others that we saw during this war, during this conflict, during this side especially. And it hits especially hard since, these are all these girls, all these nun girls are supposed to be young kids, ranges 8, little girls, ages 8 to 13. They were supposed to have their whole futures ahead of them. They don't know, they haven't even been on this earth for that long. They haven't gotten a lot of life experience. They probably only had a brief idea of what war was actually like. They're not going to understand, why these things are happening. They're not going to understand too well why, wars happen and, why men fight each other to the death. Okay, yeah, and the scene where Oliver dies, I'm pretty sure this was also more brutal in the visual novel as well, because I think the group actually saw, I could be wrong, but I think the group actually saw Oliver surrender, like Patrick and the others. They actually saw Oliver surrender. But yeah, Bruno's saying here he was lynched by a group of soldiers and then shot him dead in the end. I think that did actually happen, but however, I think it was a little different in the visual novel. I think what happened in the visual novel was they actually beat Oliver to a pulp, because those particular soldiers were just utterly pissed off at anybody from the other side, anybody from the TFA side. They fully blamed Oliver for the deaths of their comrades, and they were just basically taking out their rage on him. So yeah, they beat Oliver to a pulp basically, and then they shot Oliver. But of course, they didn't show that, Because why? Why show the emotional impact of scenes when you could just rush through it? And once again, I haven't gone that far into my revisit of volume 8 playthroughs, so I don't have much comment and I don't have much memory on how exactly Bruno's death actually went. Same goes for the commander. Okay, Natalie's death. This is just an injustice. This is an absolute injustice. This is one of the most impactful deaths. This is one of the saddest deaths among the girls. If not the saddest death among the girls. It's mainly because of how sweet she was. And also how young she was. Natalie was the youngest in the group. She was like 8 years old. And she goes out like this. Also, Patrick, Patrick and Natalie, they had such a good relationship. Patrick really was like just kind of like an older brother to Natalie. He was literally holding her hand throughout, this entire, like ever since they were in the bunker, ever since they were in the dark ass caves, he was there to hold her hand through it all. And what we see here is Natalie pretty much just returning the favor. And yeah, Natalie was just, she was just so adorable. Really one of the cutest girls among the group. And to see her go out like this, it really hits me. I mean, yes, the anime was trying to go for that same emotional impact, but I mean, I suppose I can see what they were trying to do, but it just doesn't hit the same. Yeah, the scene where Patrick picks up the gun and starts firing. Okay, this surprised me because I don't remember why is he bleeding? Why is Patrick bleeding like this? Because I mean, if you saw the preview, then you know he survives. So, I mean, yeah, you could, I guess you could, it could be that because the bullet lacerated some of the skin on his forehead, and that's where the blood came from. Like, maybe you could make that claim, but it's really weird why they would add this much blood. Because the helmet stopped it. Like, when I first saw this, I was actually not sure if Patrick was gonna make it. Like, I was actually wondering, like, okay, did they actually deviate from the source material that much and then have just Patrick killed off? Because that's what it seemed like. But yeah. Oh my good God, man. You know, yeah, like I said, this is exactly what I didn't want them to want to happen. They speed run. They pretty much speed ran through most of the girls' deaths instead of in one episode, instead of just spacing it out. They could have just done what the visual novel did and cut between different perspectives between Patrick's group and Sword. But no. I mean, and what's sucky about all this is that they probably could have made it work. Even, okay, I know I said that squishing volume 7 and 8 into 6 episodes is nonsense. Which means that volume 8 is they're gonna dedicate 4 episodes to volume 8. But still though, even though I did say before that squishing volume 8 into 4 episodes isn't gonna work, they could still make it work at least better than what they're doing here. They could have made it work at least a little bit better than what they're doing here if they had just, you know, spaced it. If they just spaced out the events of Patrick's group. If we did get that shifting in, you know, switching perspectives between Sword and Patrick's group. If they had done that, just like what they did with the visual novel, I'm pretty sure it would have been fine. But oh man, well, I guess we'll just see what episode 11 has in store. But yeah, again, overall, another disappointing episode of Grisaia Phantom Trigger. It's pretty much Volume 5's adaptation all over again. I mean, at least that's the impression I'm getting so far. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter. Now I'll see you guys next time.